Hey, what's going on? I was talking outside, but it was raining so much, so I had to stop that video. Anyways, I wanted to talk about marriage and why marriage rates potentially have gone down, and why the age has moved back. People used to get married a lot younger. I've said in other videos, my grandmother was, I think, 20 or 21 when she started having kids and was already married, and they had 7 kids. And now my parents had 3 kids, and now basically their 3 kids have no kids. So people are getting married later. I think it used to be early 20s or mid 20s for sure. Now it's gone. Women are getting married first at 28 and a half years old, and men are on average, it's 30.5 years. So instead of getting married maybe in the early to mid 20s, it's now late 20s for women and early 30s for guys in terms of getting married. And the reason for that is most, things are expensive, obviously, and homes are expensive. So if you feel financially insecure or you don't have a home and somewhere stable that you could raise a family, you're probably not going to do it. You're not going to get married because the next step after marriage for a lot of people is having kids. You've decided to be with a life partner and you're going to consider having kids. So most people want to have a home, then they want to have a solid income. And if most people can't afford homes, they're probably going to feel a little bit uncomfortable about having kids. So they're not getting married as much, or they're not getting married at all. And instead of having, like I said, my grandma had 7 kids. Instead of having 7 kids, you know, instead of having 3 kids, maybe they're only considering having 1 kid, or maybe 2. But even 1 kid is going to be a big financial commitment for someone who doesn't have a ton of money or doesn't have a home. And you guys tell me if I'm wrong. If you're a woman and you're watching this, do you have aspirations of starting a family in a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment? Is that something that you aspire to do? I'm going to say probably not. And another thing is that there's just more parity now between men and women financially. More women are working in the workforce. More women are out earning men. And I don't think women's expectations have really changed, especially if you're a younger woman. If you're in your 20s still, you're probably only going to want to date or consider a guy for a relationship if he's, if women are here, they're looking in this area for men that make the same or more than them, most likely. Not all women, just most. If you're a guy that's down here, these women are probably not going to want anything to do with you because they are up here, right? So when you have women earning more and the women are only interested in guys that are doing better than them, you're going to have a shortage problem. You're going to have a short supply of men that are doing really well, and all of these women are going to want these men. So when you have basically like 80% of women going after 10% of men, that's going to result in a lot of women being alone and a lot of guys being alone too, because they are not meeting the criteria of those women, right? So instead of having like a family unit, you have women maybe renting their own apartment and not needing a guy financially. And then men are maybe, they're earning a lot less money and they're like living with roommates, and they have a unique living situation, right? Because they're not earning as much as they did historically, because there's more women in the workplace. And like I said, if women are only interested in men that make as much or more than them, there's just going to be less relationships in general. There's going to be less people buying homes because on a single income, it's going to be a lot harder to afford a home. And with interest rates being high, it's going to be impossible for a lot of people to realistically afford it. So I think it'll only continue. I think marriages, if they happen, are going to be happening at a later age, because most people do not want to think about starting a family until they are financially secure, until they have a home. And if that isn't happening as early as it used to, then that's why we've seen it go to 28 for women and 30 for men. I would expect it to only increase. Like it's going to probably trend towards 33, 34 years old for men, and probably 30, 31, 32 years old for women in terms of when they're getting married. Because I think a woman, right, a woman, even if she's making a good income, she's still going to see a guy as, the guy needs to be doing decent, right? She doesn't want to tie her wagon to a guy that's not doing very well. So she's going to wait a little bit longer and, try to sift through all the guys and try to find one that she can actually see a relationship with. So a guy has to be doing pretty well financially because women are doing better. A lot of women are doing a lot better financially. So as a guy, you have to kind of be a high performer if you want to attract most women. So I think the age will only continue to go up, and certainly I think people will have less kids because you have to be doing pretty well financially to have more than like 2 kids, or to even have a kid. I would say you have to be doing pretty well, and there's always going to be people that are doing well financially. But if you just look at the average person, I don't think the average female is going to be really interested in the average guy, because the average guy probably makes maybe less money than she does and doesn't have a house, maybe doesn't have a lot of potential financially. And so she's going to be a little bit skeptical about having kids with a guy that doesn't have his life in order, right? So that's why I think the age has pushed back a lot, and people are either not getting married or they're just delaying it until they're a little bit more stable. And so, you guys let me know what you think on it, but I think it'll only get, probably worse because affordability is getting harder. And I don't think women's standards are going to change drastically to the point where they're the main breadwinner and they're accepting of men that make less than them. They're going to hold out until they get a guy that's probably earning more, probably doing well, because that's how they're wired. So you guys let me know what you think. You can comment, you can subscribe for more. I appreciate it, and we will see you on the next one. Take care.